Oh, I'm doing great, Robert. Pleasure to be sitting alongside you here tonight. Obviously, our well wishes for Sam tonight, feeling a little under the weather, but we'll do the best to put on a great show for everyone tonight. Yeah, Benjamin Nelson, Robert is going to be coming into tonight leading the points. So last week came off our first playoff race at Talladega, and boy, did we see a wild one with a non-playoff driver grabbing the win, Robert. So that means that none of our 16 contenders are locked in heading into tonight, and this will be a cut race tonight. So six drivers will be eliminated after tonight. The points are very, very close, Robert. So we were
Yeah.
just talking about that before coming on air. There's really no room for margin. So even if you're higher in the points, there's really no one can feel safe right now.
Yeah, looking at the point standings here right now, you got Benjamin Nelson, like you said there. He's up 20 points from the cutoff line, so he's looking good. You got Zach Hall only 11 points out, and you got Cedric Hunter running in there in third position, third in points, 9 points out to the good. I mean, and then also Ken Campbell 9 to the good. Got Joshua Altus 8 to the good. We got Doug Newbinging also here. Looks like in sixth position, 7 points to the plus. Nick Crawford 6 points to the plus. Christopher Norris 3 plus. Ryan Kelly 2 plus. Larry Yingling, our champion here, only 1 plus, and then after 10th position, then you're going to go to 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th place, which is going to be Shane Terrian, John Forbes, got Brian Johnson, Brandon Colley, Brian Knoll, and also Ross Tatum, all looking on the outside here tonight for this very final round here to make it into the next round there, Josh. So, it's going to get really nitty gritty here. Anything can happen as they got like 37 cars out on track. So, every position can count here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you can feel safe at all, and especially those six drivers that you just mentioned, Robert. It's kind of a split bag for a lot of these guys. I mean, if looking at the points, 14th on down, which is Brandon Colley, Brian Noel, and Ross Tatum, who was a no-show last week. I mean, Ross Tatum is definitely in a must-win situation. Brandon Colley and Brian Noel, 11 and 12 points out. I don't know if they're necessarily in a must win, but they're going to have a fantastic night, and they're going to have to hope for a little bit of trouble tonight. But those guys, 11th, 12th, and 13th, Shantarian, John Forbes, and Brian P. Johnson, only 1, 2, and 6 points out. So a lot of point racing going to be going on tonight there, Robert.
Amen. Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100% there, man. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this all plays out here tonight at WSSR Cup Series, brought to you by Roasted Gems Coffee. So make sure you go check out over at Roasted Gems Coffee. And we do got Sam Dyer at least out in the chat on the YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're out there watching and you want to chat up with Sam in a different way than him commentating. There you go. Hit up the chat, see how he's doing. Make sure he's feeling better, and tell him to eat 2 cookies and call me in the morning. I had to say it. Just had to say it.
Of course. And we know Sam's going to be tuned in tonight. So, again, well wishes to Sam. Hope he's feeling, well, I know right now he's not feeling great, but hopefully he'll be feeling better soon. But as we take a look at qualifying so far, Robert, Benjamin Nelson on the provisional pole, and I'm looking at the top of the leaderboard, all playoff drivers right now, Robert. So qualifying is going to be really important tonight.
Yeah, looking at the like you just said there, Josh, it's going to definitely, especially for Benjamin, looking good. But in second place there, you're going to have Larry. Definitely, he needs a good running here tonight to move into the next round. Then you got Noel there in the 77, third. good qualifying run for him. He needs a good run. Brian Johnson also needs a good run. Zach Hall needs a good run, but he also got to watch his points. You know, he's only plus 11 in points. That can dwindle down as we got, you know, like I said, around 30 cars here tonight. So one bad mistake, they get no fast repairs. So, you know, you don't want to get involved into something really, really early or throughout the whole race, honestly, if you're one of them playoff drivers trying to make it into the next round. So you really got to, does it come down to, is the wind more important or is the points more important? And it might come down to that, you know, by the end of this race.
It very well could, Robert, because I mean, essentially, if you win, you're in. So
Yeah,
those
true.
guys who are a little further down in points, I mean, it makes things a lot easier if you can just go out and win the race. As we're finishing up qualifying here, and it looks like Benjamin Nelson is going to be the driver that's going to lead him to green tonight.
All right. Well, we're going to get ready to bring up the qualifying results here, and we'll see where your favorite driver is qualified at, as is brought to you by Brandon Colley's mom, which see where Brandon qualified at. He qualified all the way in 20th, so I don't know. That's, I guess, an okay qualifying. Could be better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Brian's definitely going to want to, or I'm sorry, Brandon rather, is going to need to work his way through the field to ensure that he gets into the next round there.
Yeah, and if I mess up on names, well, I don't commentate much, ladies and gentlemen, so just bear with me. But starting here tonight, he won with the pole here of a 39.701 is going to be Benjamin Nelson in that number 79. Then you got Larry in the 67 is going to start out second. Good running by Brian Knoll in the 77. Great qualifying run. Third position. We got Doug Newbinging there in the 7. Qualified fourth. We got Nolan Hicks. Good run for him, too. Good. Getting the top 5 here in qualifying. Then starting sixth position is going to be Brian Johnson. 7th place is going to go to Zach Hall. 8th place is going to go to Ken Campbell. 9th place is going to go to Nick Crawford. And then finishing out your top 10 here is going to be Kyle Heath there in the 31 in your top 10.
And just starting outside the top 10 is going to be Shane Tiernan, who is our regular season points champion. He enters tonight 1 point below the cutoff line. So it's going to be fun to watch Shane Tiernan roll off tonight in the number 9 machine. To his outside will be the number 14 of Isaiah Sutherland. Starting 13th will be Noah Steele. 14th will be Chris Stitz. John Forbes, another one of those playoff drivers who's currently below the cut line, will roll off 15th. Joshua Kanata will start 16th. Cedric Hunter will start 17th. To his outside will be Ryan Kelly, starting 18th. Thomas Walter will start 19th. And Brandon Colley will round out the top 20.
All right, top 20 there. And then starting 21st tonight is going to be Christopher Norris. And then we got Aaron Crawley coming back here, starting 22nd. Then we got Mason Cassidy in the 23rd. We got Christopher Wade, 24th. We got Ross Tatum, wow, way down there in 25th. And then we got Coswell in the 27th, starting 26th. We got Brad Delph starting 27th here. And then 28th is going to go Brian with an I. Johnson is going to start off 28th. And then to round out the rest of the field here, we got James Heater in 29th. And 30th is going to be Danny Cochran with James Kaufman 31st. And rounding out your field, coming back is James Hackworth Jr. in that number 23, putting down the no time there. So that is going to be your starting lineup here tonight at WSSR here at Auto Club Speedway.
We're in for a good show tonight, Robert. We've got 16 drivers, but only 10 spots available to make the next round. What are you anticipating seeing here tonight, Robert? You think it's going to be a wild race? I know our race control, Steve Benjamin, shout out to Steve Benjamin, said that it's a full moon tonight. So you expecting some wild racing?
I expect here at Auto Club, yes, a lot of wild racing. Actually, I think it's a high momentum track. You got to keep the RPMs up. You got to keep the speed up. You can pass on the low line. You can pass on the high line. You can also pass in the middle. It all depends where you want to pass at. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to get that green flag rolling here tonight for 130 laps. 110 laps, apologize, with caution at lap number 30, and we are off and rolling down into turn 1.
Green flag in the air. Benjamin Nelson looking to get that jump, but it's Larry Yingling that's going to be battling on the outside. He's got Douglas Newbigin behind him, going to try to carry that momentum off turn 2, and there they go down the backstretch.
As they head down the backstretch, Larry's going to try to pull out right on the high side there, going into turn 3, and it looks like he's going to be able to clear the 79 of Benjamin and take over the lead as of right now. It's looking like so. That's good for him because you're going to get that one point for leading. So now that makes it a tie with him and Shane there, Josh.
Yeah, it sure does, Robert. That's a great start by Larry Yingling. The 3-time champ gets out front early. Things starting to settle in a little bit behind him here. Benjamin Nelson, our pole setter, drops a couple spots right off the bat. We got Brian P. Johnson slotted behind him in P4, and Brian P. Johnson. It's been a good season. Oh, as we got some shuffling a little further down the pack, I saw Shane Tyrion down there as well as John Forbes trying to make their way forward. But going back to Brian P. Johnson real quick there, Robert, he's been pretty fast every week, but I know he's had some mechanical issues with some of his equipment throughout the season, and tonight could be one of those nights where maybe we find him in the tree.
Yeah, possibility. But right now, I was just watching Cedric Hunter in that number 13 Hello Kitty Roasted Gems Kitty car, or whatever you want to call it. He was wicked loose going through 1 and 2 there, and he had Aaron Kralik up his butt trying to push him, but you can see that car just it doesn't look stable yet for him right now. So hopefully he can figure it out here in the long run.
Yeah, tire pressure is still a little cold. Trying to build up some heat in the early beginning, but what's so fun about this track, Robert, is it's really multi-groove. I mean, we were talking about that before we came on air, and you can see as we're running almost 3 wide on the front stretch right here. There's really, multiple different lanes you can run, and you can see these seams that the drivers are on. You want to really try to stay off the seam. If you can kind of pick a lane to run, right above it, right below the seam. But if you run on the seam itself, it can really upset the car.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, that must have changed in the physics from years ago, because I was always told to run the seams and try to get your left front tire on one of those seams to help the car turn. But I guess maybe it rotates it a little bit too much.
Yeah, it could. It could just make it uncomfortable. I tend to try to put my left side tire like right at it or just right above it, and where you can get that big run through the corner. But yeah, if you're gassing it up at the wrong spot, it can definitely upset the handling of the car for sure.
Oh, that's definitely something we don't want to see. As we see right now, we got the number 4 car of Mason Cassidy up here running the very, very high line. You got Aaron Kralik moving up 5 spots here as he's working his way up through. And now we got some shuffling in the background here as Christopher Norris is going to have Coswell all over him when that number 27 machine Roasted Gems going to try to pass him. He does pass him, and now he's setting his eyes on that number 4 machine and Brandon Colley there in that number 1.
Battling going on all throughout the pack there, Robert. This is right around that 20th position you're talking about, and this is what Sam and I always we talk about, kind of like the eye of the storm, right? With so many entries tonight, we got 32 cars on track. You can see it getting really sketchy there, and guys are just kind of fighting for all they're worth right now, trying to get the track position before the tires start really wearing out.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth it though there, but 27's running way up on the high line, and you can see him getting the momentum. He's keeping the RPMs, like I said at the beginning of the show, but look how loose he gets coming out, and then he loses all his speed. But now he's going to look underneath Mason Cassidy here right now. Gonna try to make the pass going into turn 1, when we'll see if he can overtake him. But I do believe he's not going to have the momentum unless Cassidy's going to back out. And it looks like Cassidy's not going to back out. He's going to take it side by side, pull some of the side draft as they head down the backstretch side by side to go into turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see just the different lines running, and now it's Brandon Colley that's going to take advantage. He's going to use a little bit of that draft from the 4 machine, and it's going to suck him up to there to give him an opportunity to make a move on these guys.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing here at Auto Club, too. You can lay back, pick up the draft, and the draft is very, very strong. So, these guys are not going to get a break. It's going to be side by side, constantly lap after lap after lap after lap. As I'll bring up the ticker here. I do apologize, everybody, but hey, there, that might help. So,
We'll
hey,
forgive you. We know you're wearing multiple hats tonight, Robert, so it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's like I'm looking at it going, hey, I'm talking about guys, but I just noticed there was no ticker. Anyways, so we'll go up here to Nick Crawford and look here at Zach Hall. He's up here running, looking pretty good right now. Zach Hall's running in ninth position. He's down 2 positions, but he's just riding here as Nick Crawford is up 1 position. Ken Campbell in that number 15 machine, he's up to 7th position. But these guys here are also, just riding, doing some of the draft. And now the question's going to be here, Josh, is how many guys, as we know, we talked about it before we went live, fuel mileage, tires and fuel mileage. How many guys are already starting to plan this out? If we stay green, which it's starting to look like right now, do you start playing that fuel mileage in your game, trying to figure out your pit stops and how many laps you can go?
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on it, Robert. One thing I think we haven't mentioned yet is there will be a competition caution at lap 30 if we stay green. So that'll give us a chance to bunch up the field at least once.
Yeah.
If caution comes out prior to that lap 30, that will serve as the competition caution. So, if I'm one of these drivers, I'm kind of using this stint to kind of test my car, figure out what lines works, which doesn't work, maybe how much I can push the car, how much I want to save tires and whatnot. And you're kind of keeping an eye on that fuel calculator just to see, the estimated run is. So it's kind of nice having that buffer that you're going to get a yellow at least once in this race, so that you can kind of test these things out, and then moving forward, it'll set yourself up for the remainder of the race.
Well, we'll have to see how this all plays out. Like you said, competition caution is going to be on lap number 30 here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're looking at right now back here with Benjamin Nelson and Brian Knoll there in the 77. Benjamin, our pole, has fell all the way back to 5th position here. Fell back 4 positions, but I think he wasn't worrying about fighting. I think he's just some of these guys that are in the playoffs, as you can see on the red ticker, it's got the red. They are the playoff drivers that are in the playoffs as of right now. So we'll have to see as we have somebody blinking out and coming back in. Who was that?
I didn't really see that, but
Oh,
to
it looks
best
like
your
Brian.
Oh, okay. Brian Johnson there. So, as we see the 79 of Benjamin Nelson now working on Brian Noel, trying to get back by him for the 4th place. So we've seen this at several tracks this year, Robert. I think Benjamin Nelson and Zach Hall are 2 prime examples of kind of just letting guys go early in the run and taking care of their stuff. And as you mentioned, Robert, this is an extremely abrasive track for tires. So
Yeah.
I think tire wear is going to be really important on these long runs. So I look for the 79 and the 32 to move their way forward as the run goes on.
Yep, like you said, key here too is it's going to be all about the tires. Who can save the tires and things like that. As we got some shuffling going on back here, as we got. Well, it's going to look like here we got Ken Campbell trying to look on the inside here of, Ryan Kelly, trying to make the pass on Ryan Kelly, but he's going to fall back in place. But, yeah, you can definitely see it now. 13 laps into it, the guys are starting to feel what their tires are doing, if they're wearing out, if they're, stuff like that. But you can see the 17 of Chris Stentz right there up on the 17 machine. He's running way high. He's moving himself up through the field, +1. So he's looking pretty strong, and right now it just looks like this race is just pretty relaxing right now, like you said there, Joshua. It's just guys are just feeling out the track, the temperature, the car, and exactly what can you do and what can't you do. As Aaron Krolick back here, he's getting a little jiggly-wiggity, if you want to call it that way. But yeah, hey, his car is all over the place a little bit, so I don't know if he's starting to burn up his tires a little too fast.
Yeah, I think we're right at that point, Robert, kind of that, 14, 15 laps into the run where guys are really starting to feel the change in the car and the rubber starting to leave them now. But I want to jump back up to King Campbell. We talked about him running 10th place right now. Ken had a really, really strong run at Talladega last week, and it's really put him in a great position here. If he just has a solid night, I think he is not going to have an issue advancing forward. He's currently plus 9 to the cut line coming into tonight, so a top 10 finish is probably all Ken Campbell's going to need to get him to that next round.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about yellows. Well, if we're going to have a yellow, it's going to be in this herd of pack of cars right here. We have Christopher Norris that is, look at this car. You can see, look at him sliding. This thing is moving all over the place. That car looks very unhappy, Joshua, right now for him. And then you got Ross Tatum, you got Coswell, you got Polly there, you got Cedric Hunter, all trying to figure out how to get by. You got, just a herd of like 8 cars trying to figure out running side by side here, but you can definitely see that these guys back here are struggling as almost got into Collie there.
You can see the 27 really struggling there, and to your point, Robert, like all these guys are very talented and aggressive drivers, I might add. So I know everyone, as you can see, oh my goodness, you can see the 38 just hanging it out there as he's going to try to cut under Ross Tatum here. Looks like Tatum's going to have the momentum down the front stretch, but oh my goodness, yeah, Christopher Norris, another really, really strong competitor. He's got a ways to go though tonight, Robert. He's not where I know he wants to be, running here in the 20th position. He entered tonight only 3 points above the cut line, so I don't know if 20th place is going to get it done tonight.
No, I don't think so either. And the way that car looks evil on him right now, hopefully he can figure it out here as the race goes on. But right now, you can see Ross Tatum, he also got loose coming out. You see these guys back here, the car just starting to really look, man, how can I say it? Look, it's looking evil. The back end.
Look evil. It is a great way to say it.
I mean, the back end just wants to come around on these guys on every exit. And this is only 18 laps into the run. So I know they're taking some notes, or if they have spotters, the spotters are saying, because right there again, look at Ross Tatum, Brandon Colley sliding out. I'm telling you, man, this is one. These guys are working it as we got the 25 back there, almost taking it around.
And we need to go back up. We need to go back up front here too, as well, Robert, because these guys are man. The number 7 of Douglas Newbegin just about lost it right there.
Oh my God!
We've got some battling going on the track right now. Larry Yingling is looking out his mirror, probably smiling at all this battling going on behind him. But we can see Benjamin Nelson really starting to make his march forward. It looks like Brian P. Johnson is fighting up there as well. I mean, we've got the cream starting to rise to the top on this this later run here, Robert.
Yeah, yes, we do. As we see Brian Johnson trying to hold off Benjamin Nelson there, and he does for this lap here. But, like I said, 20 laps into this, I think they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with these tires. And I think Benjamin and Zach Hall did the right thing you said earlier, Joshua. They backed off to save the tires because now these tires, the guys that burned the tires up, are really struggling right now. And now we got Brian Johnson going to the low line, and we got Benjamin Nelson going to try to run the high side with the momentum and see if he can do the crossover move coming down the backstretch.
That's the beautiful thing about Auto Club, Robert, is you can just run so many different lines and just go where the car feels the best. And you said it right there. You got Brian P. Johnson running the middle. Look at that, 3 different lines. You got Larry Yingling right on the bottom, Brian P. Johnson in the middle, and then Benjamin Nelson a little bit above him. He's going to get a run on him, and he's going to dive under, battle for second down the front stretch.
Gonna look at still battling on the front stretch here, going down into turn 1, ladies and gentlemen. So how's everybody doing out there tonight? Hopefully everybody's enjoying tonight's commentary and tonight's content here with WSSR, brought to you by Roasted Gems Coffee, like I said earlier, and also brought to you by their other good sponsor of Trophy Smack. We'll get more into detail of that later on into the race, but it's awesome to see here. Now we got Doug now looking underneath Brian Johnson here now for second. Well, no, actually for third position there, as Benjamin did get by Brian Johnson, as I was saying that there, Joshua.
Absolutely, and one thing we need to clarify as well, Robert, even though we're heading towards a competition caution on lap 30, one thing to note, there will be no points awarded at that caution. So
Right.
where some different leads, they do award stage points, but only points are awarded at the end of the race here. So I'm a little surprised to see the aggression so much heading into the competition caution, but I guess it's good practice for later in the race.
Well, that yeah, because then 20 laps, 30 laps into the race, 30 lap stint, what your car is going to do. Because we were told they can get an average of fuel mileage is going to be between 33 to 34 laps. So you're looking at this comp here being on lap 30. That's only 3 to 4 more laps. How much difference in 3 to 4 more laps will the tires make difference? Staying out if we get another green flag run. Um, it could also really hurt you, or it might not be much of a difference, but at least when you get close to that lap 30 stint again, what the car's going to do, how it's going to handle, and what you need to do, to either try to save your tires or, things like that. So it's always good knowledge to figure out as we see the battling going on up here now with Zach Hall and Ryan Kelly's going to go side by side there for a second or two. And Ryan Kelly's going to fall right behind Zach Hall here again.
I'm just sitting here smiling like a goofball here, Robert. Just this racing is just so entertaining to watch. I mean, you've got golly Douglas Newbing again. He is just hanging that thing out on the bottom. He looks like he's about to spin it every time he comes off the corner, and you can see where he's losing some momentum there. But man, I mean, you can just throw a blanket over this about top 7, top 8 here, Robert, and it's just so fascinating to me to watch all the different lines and guys trying to utilize their momentum coming off the corner down these long straightaways and set each other up.
That they do. Now we got Nick Crawford blocking Zach Hall up there. You can see that there on our screen here. Now we're going to go side by side here as Ryan Kelly again is going to try to get something. He's going for a 2-for-1 right now here. He's got by Zach Hall and going to try Nick Crawford, but the momentum is not going to stick for him on that low line as the top line is going to get the draft and push on by again here. Or am I wrong? And it looks like they're going to make me look wrong as he's going to take a 2-for.
And Ryan Kelly,
wow,
Robert, started 18th tonight, so he's done a really good job moving his way through the field, and he's kind of one of the feel-good stories coming into this, Robert. He got that win earlier in the season, and then couldn't race a couple races, and he didn't even know if he was going to make it into the playoffs because you had to be in the top 25, and that cutoff race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he managed to have a really strong run, got himself in the top 25, so the win counts, and he's in the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as now he's still battling side by side here as with Zach Hall, but yeah, I have to agree with what you said there, Josh. We'll have to see what Ryan does and see how it all works out. As he's going to drift a little bit up, and Zach Hall's going to give him room. And man, they almost touch exiting turn 4 there. As the race control now, thank you to Steve Benjamin helping out here at WSSR. Roasted Gen Cup Series here, but pit road will be closed in 2 laps, ladies and gentlemen. So if they want to make a pit stop, they got to do it now, because if not, pit road's going to be closed and you have to stay out.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Robert. And Auto Club is one of those tracks where you can possibly make a green flag pit stop and not go a lap down, just depending on how close to the front you are. So, but I think in this situation, I think most everyone is probably going to stay out because I think a lap or 2 on tires, it's really going to make a big difference here, just with the high tire wear here at Auto Club.
Well, then that brings back my point again here, Joshua. We said fuel run is going to be between 33 to 34 laps. You just said 2 laps of tires is making a huge thing. So we get another green flag run, they get to that 30-lap stint there, what do? Do you try to force it to stay out on that complete fuel run? Or do you pit a little bit earlier because the tires are just doesn't make no difference, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of 2 varying strategies because you don't want to stay out too long because I feel like you're going to be giving up. I mean, it probably at least 2 seconds
right
to new tires. But, yeah, you don't want to come in too early either. and then you're not going to have the advantage that the other guys are going to have. So that's why we watch, right? Because we don't know what the correct strategy is going to be, but it'll definitely open up the window for varying strategies, and that's what's fun about a lot of this.
Amen on that. As we're still watching Larry up here leading, he's got his bonus points, and he's going to go for try to get the fastest lap too. That's extra points too. As I'm just very interested on how Larry is. Ooh, hang on, Benjamin there. But I'm really interested on how Larry's running his line. He's running it way down.
Yeah, and I think Larry's really been one of those drivers where we haven't seen a ton of drivers running that bottom line. And as I say that, he's got to switch up the line to try to block Benjamin Nelson. And I think that's a smart move there, Robert, because even though he may be feeling more secure on the bottom, sometimes you got to move around and look and see what your competition's doing. And if he sees Benjamin Nelson making hay up there, well, maybe he's got to move up to kind of block his run.
Yeah, well, you can see he did that 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4, and that comes down to it too. You know, you got your second place guy, as he looks like Larry's going to hold off Benjamin to take this. Well, bring up to the comp yellow, which is out now, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, the thing is too. Something we never talk about too much here, though, is, you know, how Larry's feeling comfortable running that high line and running the low line in 3 and 4. You get down to the end of the race, and he's leading up there. The driver that's running in second, third position could change up their line and make him feel uncomfortable running a line that he hasn't ran all race and putting him in a spot that he feels different, because as a driver sitting behind the wheel, you get in that comfort zone and you get in that momentum is what I call it, and you just do the same as like a rhythm back in, you know what I mean, over and over and over. And then if you change it up, you're like, whoa, not used to that, and you don't know how your car's going to react. So I always pay attention to that little details.
Yeah, that's a great point, Robert, and I think we are about to see feeding time on pit road for these guys right here.
Most definitely, as we got Larry leading the way in here, ladies and gentlemen, as everybody's going to be making their pit stop here on lap 30. They got to get their, you know, their long run on their tires. But with that being said, we are going to step away real quick, take our first commercial break here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as we watch these guys come down. Making a pit stop, going to take 2 cans of Sunoco fuel, 4 sets of 4 tires on their car, and see how it all rolls out after that. But we will be right back after this.
They're 5 wide behind the pit! Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with their shot here, coming off a 4. Look at me, that's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. I know Carter gets run. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trying to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Pace cars in, and we are green flag racing here at WSSR at Auto Club Speedway, as we got Larry and Doug here taking off from first to second position here, Joshua. And now here it comes again. These guys learned what the tires can and cannot do, what the cars like to do, and now we are stacked up and see if these guys can get spread out, or do we see that dreadful word of yellow.
And here they come roaring down the bad stretch, and Larry Yingling continues to lead the field. But if you look closely, Robert, you'll notice one car missing from the front pack, and it's going to be that number 79 of Benjamin Nelson. Right as we were coming to commercial break, Benjamin Nelson spun it coming to pit road, coming to his box, and he lost a ton of track position. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Nelson and see if he can work his way back through the field.
Yep, he worked his way up a little bit. He's now up to 18th position, but he is still down 17 spots. So, yeah, he's back here running with these guys back here. So we'll have to see if he can, rebound back up there. But yeah, like you said, he spun in pit road, so we'll keep an eye on him and see what he can do. He does have a fast car, but we'll see how fast he wants to push it. But right now, the guys that we need to pay attention to is going to be Shane Terrian, John Forbes. You know, we also got Brian Johnson, only 6 points out to make the playoffs. We got Ryan Kelly, is only +2. Christopher Norris is +3. So, 8th, 9th, 10th in point standings. I don't know, man. This is going to come down really, really close, as we see Shane Terrian going to make another move here. But we got to keep an eye on, I think, tonight here closely. It's going to be Christopher Norris, Ryan Kelly, Larry, and Shane Terrian, John Forbes, and Brian Johnson. And also, Colley stayed out and led a lap, so now that takes him from -11 to right now -10, but it also doesn't factor where he finishes at on track yet for them points yet.
Yeah, absolutely, though, Robert. Man, I wish we had a live calculator of some sort so we can kind of do like the play-by-play for the points. So we're doing the best we can with our quick math, but yeah, exactly what you just said, Robert. All those guys right around that bubble, right above the bubble, right below the bubble. It's going to be so fun to try to keep tabs on where they're running right now. But one that you mentioned, Shane Terrian, running 11th place right now. He came into the night 1 point below the cut line. So, and then directly in front of him and 10th is John Forbes, who was 2 points below the cut line. So
right.
couple bubble guys running right around the top 10 right now.
Right, and then you also got Brian Johnson here. He's running up here too in 8th position. You got Christopher Norris just a little bit behind, running in 13th position. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to the last lap, to be honest with you, until we even know even if somebody makes it or doesn't make it by total points or anything. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till next week to get that final, calculations for the viewers, because we ain't going to know.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Robert. So it's going to come down to the very last lap. I'm sure of it as well. But right now, I'll tell you one person who's not concerned, and that's Larry Yingling. Leading this race so far, he's dominated from the beginning so far tonight, Robert. And he came into tonight only 1 point above the cut line. And what better way to not worry about points than to just go out there and lead the thing?
Well, that's it. Right now he's leading. He's right now has led the most laps. And then you also got the fastest lap, which is that we don't have right now. Hint, hint. But who gets the fastest laps, also gets the Rocket Man award. So, right now Larry's looking good. Like you said, he knows what he needs to do to make it into the next round. And right now he is proven to be the car to beat, but you still got hungry wolf of guys behind him. With Doug, we got Nolan Hicks now looking really good up here in second position. You got Zach Hall running in third. He's trying to stay above that cut line. So running in the top four for Zach Hall is gonna look like a good solid night, but he needs to stay there at least in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to get put yourself in a situation where you could be in jeopardy of losing a lot of points. And I know we're going to talk about playoff drivers, pretty much all night, Robert. But we got to give Nolan Hicks a quick shout out, running second place in the 86 machine, a non-playoff driver. He's doing a great job tonight, running second place. And how cool would it be if another non-playoff driver was able to get in victory lane? We saw a non-playoff driver get in victory lane, and one of the closest finishes in Freaky Fast history last week at Talladega.
Most definitely. And if that would happen again, back to back, that would really shuffle up the playoffs, point standing wise, because 2 rounds and not one playoff driver locks himself into the next round. I don't ever recall calling on Freaky Fast Broadcasting or any leagues that I broadcasted in my 3 years, almost 4 years of doing this, that I ever remember that happening there, Joshua, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the stat checkers to check me, but I remember last year in real life NASCAR, I believe that happened in one of the early rounds in the playoffs last year. So it's really cool because we talked about different agendas a lot last week. And Zach Hall gets a little wiggly coming off turn 4 there, takes over that second position from Nolan Hicks. But we talked about just different agendas, right? And guys that are not in the playoffs, they really have nothing to lose tonight, Robert. They're out here to compete. They're out here to win. Unfortunately, they're not going to have a chance at the championship, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to race just as hard as everyone else.
Well, of course. I mean, you're out there racing for pride, right? I mean, you sign up for a league, you come out to race, you race. Any race car driver that hops in a car, your number one goal is to win the race. That's what you want to do. You want to be in victory lane. The second goal is finish the race. I've always said, finish the race, the wins will come. You can't finish the race, you're never going to get a win. So, that's my mentality towards that. But right now, we've got heated battle in the top 5, top 6, top 7 guys here. We got Brian Johnson trying to look on the high side. We got Nick Crawford getting by. We got Doug down there on the low line. We got Ryan there, Kelly trying to make his way through. We got Brian Knoll. Man, I'm telling you. And then you got Shane Terrian just hanging on into the back here of the draft. So, man, action-packed all over here at this Auto Club Raceway. And like you said, this track puts on some action. And what did you see there, sir?
It's just, these guys are just getting after it, Robert. And if you look at the ticker on the left-hand side here, basically from 4th on back are all playoff guys, Robert. So, I mean, it's just, I love watching these guys run the multiple grooves. You got them spread all over the track. And, I mean, they're doing a really good job of racing and racing clean, too. It's fun to watch.
Most definitely. Well, I'm not trying to pay attention to the ticker tonight because that ticker gets me confused because the minute somebody's in 7th, then they move to 8th, then they move back to 7th, and then they're up to 6th. So I don't try to pay attention to that right now there, Joshua. But, yeah, just a little funny joke there, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, a little bit of battle and going back here. And, again, we talked about playoff drivers and everything, but we got to get Sutherland here, in this 14 a shout out too. He's having a great run here. Danny Cochran's having a good run. He's looking to move his way up. He's up 14 positions in that number 2 machine there, Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely. Isaiah Sutherland and Danny Cochran have both been great additions to this league, in my opinion, Robert. I mean, it's just, we talk about all the times, like, this is kind of the all-star league it's kind of turned into for Freaky Fast with all the different drivers driving from different series and whatnot. And it's just so fun to see the skill set and just the amount of talent in here is, there's a handful, I mean, even more than a handful of guys that could win each and every week, and that's what keeps everyone coming back and watching, right? You just never know what's going to happen, because normally in some leagues you got that, one or two dominant drivers that you know it's just going to be between one or two guys. But I mean, shoot, I think you could easily pick from a list of 10 or 15 guys that could win each and every week.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. But we got our Sam Dyer's running around down on pit road, so we thank him for that. But we have an update with the reason why Brandon Colley is 2 laps down. He did get a black flag and had to serve a 40-second hold there, Joshua. So apparently, under caution, he got a black flag for pitting when the pits were closed. So he had a 40-second penalty for that, which put him 2 laps down. So that could be the cut done. He needs a yellow or, a couple of yellows to get back in to the playoffs, because that there just took him completely out of the next round.
Yeah, that's going to be such a costly mistake, and I could hear him debating on the radio, essentially pleading with race control to waive the black for him, because it sounded like he stayed out under caution to get that lap led, and I think pit road was closed by the time he came back in. So
yes.
Yeah, exactly to your point, Robert, that is going to be absolutely detrimental to his hopes of moving forward. But the positive thing is, always trying to look at the good thing, right? He is the only car a lap down right now.
Right.
So if we were to get a caution, he would be the recipient of the lucky dog. And never say never, Robert. You never know what could happen in these races. I think we saw a couple weeks ago, Shane Tyrion, I believe, was like 5 laps down at Dover.
Yeah.
He came back and finished in the top 10. So never give up, right? You got to get out here and give it your all, especially in a cutoff race.
Oh, most definitely. The only thing that he has to pay attention to is not worry about passing cars. Just ride. You're 2 laps down. My recommendation would be for Colley and that number 1 machine is stay away from, if there is a yellow, you don't want to get involved with the yellow, because iRacing, if you get triggered, that little ticker of contact, then that goes away and you don't become that lucky dog.
Yep, that's a great point, Robert. You just got to keep yourself clean and hope that you grab a caution, and you can start working your way back into this race.
Yep, but like you said, never say never, and we'll just keep rooting him on, and hopefully he just stays out there. But we'll go back to the back of the pack here and just see what's going on here, as we got Steele back here in the 88. Having a decent run here. We got Christopher Wade also back here. But again, now we're going back here to 23rd position. Christopher Norris, not looking good at all. 51 laps in the books here of 110. And he is way back here in the back of the field here, Joshua. And this is not going to do it. And this is not going to put him in the next round.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Christopher Norris hasn't moved forward more tonight, Robert. I mean, but you can just see the I think you used the adjective of evil earlier, some of these cars, and that's exactly how his car looks. He's just not looked comfortable tonight at all, and you can see that car moving around, and he's fighting it. He's on that seam right there, getting a little loose and losing another spot. So. Yeah, I mean, definitely work to be done for Christopher Norris if he wants to advance.
The only good thing about it is he's still on the lead lap. So again, like you said, never say never. But yeah, it's kind of shocking, like you said here. And also, here's another driver back here running way back here. Ross Tatum back here in the 26th position. Not usually seeing him way back here too. So now my question comes, with these guys riding back here on their... Could they be looking at a fuel stint here, long run? Could they be saving some fuel?
They very well could. I'm going to try to get my calculator out real quick and see if I can do some quick math. So, looks like we had pit stops on lap 31. So we're going to subtract that. So that's 79 laps. Divide that by 2. That's about 39 and a half laps, which if we think our fuel window is about 34 laps, that's going to put these drivers really having to save almost 5 laps of fuel, which I don't know if you're going to be able to do that or not tonight, Robert. But it looks like Tatum did top off on fuel, so he is in a must-win situation. So I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't know, and he might try to steal this thing on fuel mileage.
Well, if you add it up too, they could be thinking about doing it this way too. This fuel run, this stint here right now, as we see Cedric Hunter getting way loose coming out of turn 2 there, could be save some fuel on this stint here. They got to make another pit stop, right? So you make it to the lap that you need to make it to, and fill up, and then that will also help you save fuel to the end. So you're basically short pitting a little bit to try to leapfrog this field. Could that be a possibility?
It very well could, and I'm just crossing my fingers we stay green now, as we're just about halfway through this race already, Robert, which is it's pretty quick. I can't believe how quick the race is going by, but
That's
55
true.
laps on the board. So as they hit the start finish, whoa, we get to see a big wiggle as it looks like the 77's in the wall there.
And the 88 looks like whoever the 88 is, a Noah Steele, got way loose coming out of turn 2 here too. So we're in that range now where these tires are starting to look a little evil here for some of these drivers here, Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are going to be starting to push it, and the handling of the car is going to start going away. And this is where you need to keep your eyes peeled, right? And this is where the fun begins when we start getting to the second half of the race and we start looking at strategy. And just like you talked about, Robert, what's going to be the winning strategy tonight? Are these guys going to want to come in and short pit a little bit? Are they going to want to stay out and try to have a little bit of a tire advantage once they come put those fresh tires on?
Yeah.
And by the way, it was Brian Noel in that 77 that got in the wall right there, Robert. And he is one of the guys that is pretty far down on points tonight, so he's going to have
here
a
we go.
massive night.
I just said it. Halfway just came up, and here they're coming in to make their pit stop here. So pit stop and has opened up here on pit road.
So these guys definitely cannot make it all the way from
No.
here. So, and any of these guys coming in right here are going to be on a two-stop strategy, Robert. So,
Right.
We'll see if anyone can possibly think about doing the one stop. But yeah, those two drivers, first ones to hit pit road.
Yeah, so pit road is now open. With that being said, as you're down on pit road, wave to Sam Dyer down there, giving information to drivers out there on the YouTube chat. And the fans do much appreciate it. But we're going to give a shout out to one of the sponsors here at WSSR, Roasted Gems Coffee. Make sure you go over and check Roasted Gems Coffee. The whole types of sorts of different flavors that they have. The favorite flavor that I like is called the Cowboy. It's a very strong flavor. Black coffee, grinded fresh for you every day, packaged and shipped out right away. So make sure you go over and check out Roasted Gems Coffee for all the coffee blends that they offer. And use the code WSSR to get 5% off on your coffee orders. And also, want to give a big shout out to Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack is one of them awesome companies that upload an image and you can get a wall smack that you hang up onto the wall. It's all done by magnets, special magnets that you put up. You can get images of your kids, your family, a race car, anything that you like. Upload your picture, put it on the way you want, design it, and then you submit your order and you can have a Trophy Smack on your wall. So make sure you go over and check out Trophy Smack for all the awesome products that they have out there. And you can also use WSSR Smack to get 10%, 5% or 10% off of your complete order. But thank you to them amazing sponsors that help WSSR here with everything that they try to put on for the fans and everybody watching. But all right, well, back to the action here, Josh, as we look like now we got Doug coming in. We got John Forbes entering pit road. We got Benjamin Nelson entering pit road. So, like I said, pit road is open. Now, how long do you stay out with Larry, Nolan Hicks, Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, Ryan Kelly, and Ken Campbell? When do they make their pit stops?
Well, looks like the 67 may be slowing down right here, and here
right
he comes.
now.
Larry Yingling, our leader, and Brian P. Johnson to follow, along with Ken Campbell and a couple more.
Well, looks like everything is opening up here, and now Nolan Hicks is going to stay out. Zach Hall, interesting. Zach Hall staying out for another lap here too. So I would imagine these guys can make it one or two more laps here. They got to make a pit stop soon.
Yeah, it looks like to me, Robert, these guys are planning on splitting this last stint. So heading around lap 60, 50 laps to go. Looking to probably split this around 25 laps each stint here. So, but we've got a couple guys that short pitted a little earlier. I know Douglas Newbigging, as you mentioned, pitted on lap 59 there. And I think our earliest stop was it's like lap 56 by
56,
Nick Crawford
yeah.
and Brian Noel. So I look for those guys to cycle to the front once these stops are completed. But how long can they stay there?
Well, that's going to be the question, and right now we are just wide open here with racing as pit stops are underway. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit our final commercial break here. We will finish out tonight's event here with WSR Cup Series, brought to you by Roasted Gems Coffee, here with the final action after pit stops, and see who can bring home the car in victory lane or lock themselves into the next round. Stay tuned for the end of the race, but we will be right back after this quick commercial.
They're 5 wide behind her pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here. Coming off a 4. Look at these. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. I know Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trying to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck him.
Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here as pit stops are wrapping up here. You can see Brian with an eye in that 08 out leading some laps here. He is now going to come in here on lap 69 of 110. So it's going to look like a good race here to the end here. Tonight it is me, Robert A. Moyer Jr. up here in the booth with Joshua Altis calling all the action here. And we got Sam Dyer down on pit road running around, giving us some information, some points, and trying to keep up with that kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But Pit Stops has cycled through here, Joshua. And right now, Newbingen is out there in the front and has a 1 second lead over Nick Crawford.
Yeah, he sure did, Robert. And man, I mean, what a great race so far. We've seen a lot of hard racing, clean and green, knock on wood right now. And we got through a whole pit sequence cycle there. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Douglas Newbingen came in pitted on lap 59 and was able to short pit a couple guys there and jump out in front, but Larry Yingling is the one to keep an eye on, Robert. He's been pretty much dominating all night. He came in and pitted on lap 60, and he has just made his way to second place there, and now he sets his sight on the leader.
Upset, yeah, we'll see what he can do here. He's 1 minute and 40 seconds behind right now. We'll see if he can, pick up that speed. It's basically got a 1 lap difference on tires. And you can see the difference in the lines that Larry's running. He's still sticking with that, running that low line through 3 and 4 and running the high side through 1 and 2. As Doug is also running the high line, mid line through 1 and 2. You can see, well, nope, he changed it up on me. He is actually running the low line. And, well, now Larry's going to run the low line. So never mind. Everybody's moving to the low line maybe there, Joshua.
Yeah, drivers just moving around. You got to just go where the car feels good, where you can feel like you got that grip and allow you to carry that momentum through the corner and down these long straightaways. So Larry Yingling kind of starting to chip away just a little bit at that lead of Douglas Newbingen. But behind them, we've got a nice little battle for third right now. Brian P. Johnson, Nick Crawford working on. And how about Brian Noel? He was one of the drivers along with Nick Crawford. They both elected to go with the undercut strategy, both pitted on lap 56. So a couple older lap tires on both of those machines, but they're doing a really good job hanging on to the top 5 right now.
Yeah, right now they're looking really strong and stout out there, but a lot of these drivers are going to have to make one more pit stop. So we'll have to see where that all lays out after that all gets done there, Joshua, because that could be the turning point too. You got to get in your pit road. You got to get into your stall, stop right, and exit out. We seen our pole leader of Benjamin on the first pit stop under the comp spin it out and lose all his positions, and he's really has not rebounded back from that. He's still back here running in 15th position, so that cost him dearly right now.
It sure did. I'm right with you, Robert. I'm honestly shocked that he hasn't moved up quicker than he has. I mean, he restarted right outside the top 20 and only about 5 to 7 spots he's gained. So up to 15th. The thing that he's got going for him, though, Robert, is he entered tonight plus 20 points to the cut line. So he can afford to give up a little, but you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation where you could potentially get involved in an incident or something.
Yep, very true, very true. And looking at his lap times right now here too, he's still roughly about a 10th faster than the leaders right now, but running back here in 15th position, a 10th faster is not gonna make a difference. It's gonna take way too many laps for him to even get up to the top 10 to run that, because I've been sitting here looking at the lap times of all these guys, and a lot of them are running in the 41.3s and the 41.2s, 4s and 5s, and a couple 6s here and there. So, a 10th or 2 is not going to do it.
Yeah, it's not going to do it to catch the leaders for sure at this point in the run. But like we said, Benjamin Nelson, he's still in a solid position, we believe, right now. Had that nice little point cushion coming into the night. But some of the cutoff guys, Brian P. Johnson being one of them there, Robert.
Yeah.
He entered tonight 6 points below the cutoff. He was in 13th in points. Remember, only the top 10 are going to advance, so he's doing what he needs to do, running up in third place in that trophy smack machine.
Yep, most definitely. Yeah, he's running up to where he needs to be. And also, talking about Zach Hall, 11 points plus right now. He's up here running in 7th, 8th. John Forbes is having a good run. Shane Terrian moved himself up one position as of right now through this race. He is now up to 10th. And, that is where I am just being really close to, because I don't see this being, looking at where Ryan Kelly's running, really this could all come down to Christopher Norris running way in the back of the field. I don't know, Josh. This could really hurt Christopher Norris and what Shane Terrian's doing, because he's only 1 point below Larry. Well, we know Larry's led a lap. He's probably led the most laps as of right now. So I don't think we have to talk about Larry. I think Larry's looking really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sitting here with my pen and paper in hand here, Robert, and I'm slowly crossing guys out that I think are potentially done. My first one is Ross Tatum. I think he's going to need an absolute Hail Mary to get in this thing. He was really in a must-win situation. Haven't really seen a ton of speed out of the 21 tonight, which I'm a little surprised about. So as of right now, again, anything could happen, but Ross Tatum looks to be out. Brian Noel. Oh, what you see there?
We have Nick Crawford entering pit road on lap 79.
How about that? So that's another thing to keep an eye on is I feel like we just got done with stops, but around lap 60, they came in with about 50 to go. So splitting it would be around lap 85. So this is definitely a little bit early here, Robert.
Well, we'll have to see how that all plays out. He might know something we don't know when it comes to fuel mileage. But, yeah, I mean, go back here to what we were talking about. Look at Ken Campbell is we lost Ken Campbell there for a minute. Ken Campbell still out on the track?
Let me see if I can find him real quick. Yes, he is. Let's see here. Oh, no, I don't see him.
He looks like he might have dropped out too. Oh boy.
And it says right on the oh no, it looks like Brian Noel as well as Ken Campbell dropped a packet loss. We had some issues with this in one of my other leads this week, Robert. So, just an unfortunate situation for a couple of these playoff guys.
Oh, that just changes the whole scenario of what we were talking about tonight, Josh.
It sure does. It's kind of iRacing's version of engine trouble, if you want to call it that. And just like an ordinary race, you could be humming along like normal, and then something comes out of nowhere, and unfortunately, it looks like Ken Campbell and Brian Noel are going to be the recipients of that.
Yeah, and Ken Campbell is he's in 4th plus 9 in points. So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
That's a huge game changer. I was just about to compliment him again there, Robert, because he was doing everything he needed to do. Came in plus 9. Was running solidly right toward the tail end of the top 10, just having a comfortable night. And man, that would be an absolute heartbreaker if that's what took Ken Campbell out tonight.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm looking here, and it looks like he's trying to enter back into the server, but right now that put him down in 30th position.
Yeah, that is going to be extremely costly. And like we've been saying all night, anything can still happen. We've still got some time left, but yeah, that could be huge for Ken Campbell's chance to advance tonight.
Like you said, that's a sign of engine trouble or something, if that's what we want to call it. But I'd be calling my internet company. Anyways, back to the racing here. We got Doug leading the race right now yet over Larry, and we can see Danny Cochran having the biggest move of the race right now. He's up 21 positions right here, trying to catch Shane and John Forbes and Sutherland here for 6th, 7th, and 8th position.
Yeah, Danny Cochran doing a really good job tonight, and he's one of those guys that pitted on lap 60. So a couple of those guys right in front of him have a couple of lap older tires than him. So doing a really good job, kind of marching his way through the front. And as we say that, here goes Benjamin Nelson starting to creep his way back into the top 10.
Yeah, and pit stops has opened up. Zach Hall went in and made a pit stop. We got Aaron Crawley, Christopher Norris making pit stops. So we got Nolan Hicks now coming in. So it looks like pit road has opened back up here, Joshua. So, like you said, they're doing that, last stint, looking at 50 laps, 40 laps to go. That's still not going to give them enough of gas, won't it?
Let's see. So lap 84, 16. So yeah, they should be good to go from here, Robert. So
Okay.
yeah, this will be with about 25 laps to go here. So should be plenty good on fuel. So if everything stays green, keyword is if, right?
If.
If everything stays green, then this should be the last stop of the night for all these guys.
We'll have to see how it all plays out as we got Benjamin Nelson now working his way up here through with Cedric Hunter and everything. So I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you everybody out there tuning in, watching on your Wednesday night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, bringing you WSSR Cup Series brought to you by Roasted Gems and Trophy Smack. Make sure you go check out them sponsors, very great sponsors. You can find it in the description below of this YouTube channel. The links to their information. But how's everybody doing out there? Everybody enjoying tonight's content? I know we have some people out there chatting. We got Collie's mom out there. I do appreciate it. So hopefully everybody's enjoying this show here right now. As here we go now. Final pit stop. We got Larry coming in. Doug. We got Ryan Kelly, John Forbes, Cedric Hunter, Chris Stentz, Danny Cochran. So here it is. This is basically coming down to the final stop of the race, barring that other word we don't say.
That's right there, Robert. And I was watching the leaders come in there, and Larry Yingling did a masterful job of cutting that gap down to Douglas Newbigging. They're going to be bumper to bumper leaving pit road, and they are going to be the two to watch to see who can win this race.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. They are bumper to bumper as we're watching on the exit, but we also have other cars that already made their pit stop, like Zach Hall and all them guys that did pit early. They should pull ahead of them. Now the question is can they, speaking of Doug and Larry, can they catch the guys that did the little bit of, the short pit here, as we got Nolan Hicks. Man, Nolan Hicks is like, I got to get by Larry, so he's looking on the low line trying to get by him with the fresh tires.
Yep, Nolan hits, looking to try to take advantage of these two coming off pit road, but doesn't quite look like he's going to be able to. He's fighting Larry Yingling, but Larry Yingling too strong on the outside there. I think this is going to be the group to watch coming to the end, Robert. But like you said, we've got some different strategies out there, so got to keep an eye on the rest of the field as well.
Well, yeah, watch the rest of the field, but Brian Johnson, last lap by, put down the fastest lap of the race of a 39.84. So right now, he is the rocket man that will take home that bonus. So that is huge for him right there. I'm telling you, these points are going to be so close. I wouldn't want to be a driver in this point standings, honestly, Joshua. I'd be ripping my hair out.
Well, especially with some of the latest issues we've had. I mean, Ken Campbell running in a great spot, seemingly having, nothing to worry about, and then some engine troubles popping up out of nowhere, getting disconnected, as well as Brian Noel was the other one, which he was 12 points back coming into tonight, but he was doing everything in his power to have a good points night. And man, I mean, just those two issues for those guys has really opened things wide open right here in the late stages.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Well, we are winding down here, 89 of 110 here, and we got Christopher Wade out here leading a couple laps here. These guys that are staying out, Ross Tatum, we got Thomas Walter out here that just got passed by Nick Crawford, but we got Christopher Wade now entering pit road, and Ross Tatum, he's barring on the yellow right now. I hate to say the word, but that's only hope that this 21 has right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen Ross Tatum do this across so many different leads that, Freaky Fast broadcasts. And, I'm good friends with Ross. I like to mess with him and tell him he's got a horseshoe that he hides somewhere. And because a lot of times these strategy calls end up working out for him. But, with only 20 laps to go, it's going to have to happen pretty quick for this 21 car. His season's going to be done.
Most definitely. Well, last lap by Shane Terrian put down the fastest lap of a 39.64. So now he's the rocket man to get. Oh, I give
And
up.
here comes Ross Tatum to pit road, as we're saying. But yeah, to your point there, Robert, that Rocket Man point could mean all the difference in the world with
Right.
how close all the points are tonight. So just another thing to keep an eye on.
Well, hopefully we'll have that information by the end of tonight's broadcast, but we'll have to see once here as Thomas Walters is now entering pit road in at number 57. He's it. So it's looking, if I'm looking at the leaderboard right now, it looks like pit stop has cycled around, and that's going to put Nick Crawford now out in the lead. Pitted on lap 78. Zach Hall pitted on lap 81, and Brian Johnson and the rest of the field was 84 to 85 lap when they made their pit stop. So
Yeah, I commend Nick Crawford for trying something different. And, he was in a position, again, he entered tonight +6. So, it looks like as long as he has a strong finish, I'm going to say maybe somewhere in the top 10,
yeah,
he theoretically should be good on points. But he's got a hungry pack of wolves coming up behind him here, led by Zach Hall. But Brian P. Johnson, Douglas Newbigging, and Larry Yingling all in the mix here late at Auto Club.
well, that's it. We had Zach Hall, 11 points up, right? So he gets that win, locks him in automatically. He doesn't have to worry about points. But the two drivers that I think desperately need a win is going to be that 28 and that 67 between Brian Johnson and Larry Yingling. I think they're the two that need to get the win so they don't have to worry about their points. Now, I don't think it's too much crucial. Oh, my God, is it going to go 4 wide?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Robert, but man, we've got some movement going on for the lead up front. We were 4 wide there for a second, and here comes Douglas Newbiggin getting the push on the back stretch, and now they're 3 wide for second.
3 wide going through turn 3 and 4 here as we got the two drivers that are looking to lock themselves into the next round. Is that, oh my goodness, Brian Johnson almost had Zach Hall.
Yeah, Zach Hall is going to wash up right behind Brian P. Johnson, give him a little assistance down the front straightaway here, down into turn 1 and 2. And it's going to be Douglas Newbigging in the 7 car that's going to come out front. He's got Larry Yingling running that bottom, trying to get around Brian P. Johnson. But Johnson fights back on the high side, going down the back stretch.
Fights on the high side. Larry's going to fall in the back. But get back to my final words that I was saying there is that 28 needs, well, don't need, but would really help to get the win, and lock himself and solidify himself into the next round. That 67, I don't think needs a win as much as that 28, but a win would be nice to go into the next round. So these two drivers, I think, are just going to fight it out. And Doug's looking really strong the whole night. He is +7 in the points. Of course, he gets that win. That's going to lock him into the next round, but I don't think he is in dire need of getting that win like these other two behind him. But again, a win's a win, locks you in, moves you on, so we'll have to see how this all plays out, ladies and gentlemen, as we're on lap 95 of 110. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty here, so.
And not to mention, Robert, obviously everyone wants to win. However, if you win tonight, that's more playoff points added to your bucket going into the next round. So, even though it might not be a must-win to advance to the next round, well, I'm pretty certain that any of these guys are going to want to try to, pack as many points as they can going into that next round, because it's just going to get harder and harder to make that final group of drivers.
Right. Well, that's a good thing that you said there, Joshua. You get the bonus points for getting that win to roll it into the next round. And we're seeing how the point system is set up right now, being so close to the point where it's a lap led, fastest lap, or, position or a race win comes down if you're moving into the next round, or even staying in the top, 10 to move yourself into that next round. So going into the next round, like you said, it's only going to make it tighter. You're going to have the same cars, still faster drivers, but then points are going to get closer and closer. So if you can get a bonus point, that might be the difference in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. Because don't forget, so we started with 16 drivers. We're going to go to 10 drivers
Right.
Tonight, and then the next cutoff will go from 10 to 6 drivers. So, making that final, top 6 for the final two race shootout. It's going to be very, very close. And to your point, 1 point can make all the difference. And as I'm saying that, the first driver that is going to be officially eliminated from the playoffs, the 21 of Ross Tatum, he came down and parked it, and Tatum is done.
Tatum is unfortunately gonna call it a night here with mechanical problems, and unfortunately for him, he had a great run for the whole season, made it into it, and it's just didn't all pan out for him this season. But I'm sure he'll be gearing up, finishing out this season and getting ready for next season to give it another run, as we're going to have soon here. We're going to have about 10 laps to go.
Yeah, it's coming up on us quick here, Robert, and it looks like Douglas Newbigging seems to be the driver in charge right now. He's got about a 6/10 lead over Larry Yingling in second place. Brian Johnson, things have kind of settled up front for now here, Robert, but a lot of these playoff guys, Larry Yingling we talked about, Brian Johnson, who we thought could have possibly needed to win tonight, but a third place finish just might be enough to get him to the next round.
Very true. And what really stinks too is that for me, Shane Terrian back here running a great race, running in ninth position, up 2 positions, doing everything he possibly can, and it might not be enough.
Yeah, Shane Terrian's going to be one of those guys where he's going to be right on the bubble if he's going to make it or not. Entering tonight, -1 and riding right around the cutoff line. It's hard to tell if he's going to be another driver that I'm looking down the leaderboard. I'm trying to look for playoff drivers. Joshua Kanata running 15th. Robert, he came into tonight. We haven't really talked about Joshua Kanata a lot tonight, but he came in tonight 8 points above the cutoff line. So running 15th, you would think that might put him potentially in the danger zone of possibly missing the next round as well.
Yeah, possibility as, like you said, Shane Terrian running in 9th. You got Joshua Kanata back here running in 15th. And then if you look down through the rest, I think what really hurt, not going to work out, is going to be Christopher Norris running still back here in 21st position, and just didn't have that vehicle tonight to compete with anybody. So that's an unfortunately there for Christopher. I'm sure he wanted to move on to the next round. He had a great week of racing. He won Monday night at Road America, and had a great race there. And then at Indy, showed a pretty good strong car at Indy at full send. He looked pretty good there. So unfortunately, tonight's not the night though for him.
Yeah, I agree with that, Robert. And again, just trying to do a quick assessment for the viewers. I think Ross Tatum is officially going to be eliminated as he's out of the race. Brian Noel, another one of those drivers that had connection issues. He seemingly looks like he's going to be out of it. Brandon Colley had the black flag. He's seemingly going to be out of it. And then and Ken Campbell, another one of those drivers with connection issues. He is running all the way back in 28th place, 1 lap down there, Robert. So just a really tough break for the driver of the 15. But I would say those 4 guys, as of right now, looks like they could be out.
Yep.
But the other 2, I truly don't know.
Yeah, and we're not going to know unless we get that update before this broadcast ends here tonight. But again, I want to give a shout out to Roasted Gems Coffee. Make sure you go over and check out Roasted Gem Coffee and use WSSR to get 5% off of your order of any blend coffee that they got. They got full blend, black black coffee that's all grounded, or beans. They also sell it in beans too. You can get decaf coffee, and they also got merch out there that you can pick up, some hoodies, t-shirts, things like that. So make sure you go over and check out Roasted Gem Coffee for all your coffee needs. And then also Trophy Smack. Make sure you check out Trophy Smack for their wall smacks and all the products that they offer out there. You can use WSSR Smack to get your 10% off of any order over there at Wall Smack. They got some awesome products, and make sure you go and check them out. But with 7 laps to go here, Doug is looking good right now, and I don't think anybody has anything for Doug unless he messes up. It's looking like a pretty good race for him right now.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. I did notice he had a little bit of a moment coming off turn 4 there, a little bit of a wiggle, and it actually allowed Larry Yingling to creep in. As you can see him, another little wiggle for the 7 car. Larry Yingling is only half a second back, Robert, so this thing's not over yet.
No, and I'm just going to keep an eye on lap times here, and we can actually bring that up here. We can see Larry has the past 3 laps, 102, 103, and 104, has picked it up 6/10 all the way to a 1 to an 8/10 lead. He's been cutting it down. We'll see what he does here on lap 105 as that data comes in, and he's 7/10 faster. So he's slowly picking away on Doug, but does he have enough to get that victory?
Well, and one thing that could possibly be upsetting the 7 as well, Robert, is that the lap car of Thomas Walter riding right in front of Douglas Newbigging, could he be dirtying up the air just enough to be affecting the handling of that car and allowing Larry Yingling to just creep in ever so slightly?
Well, very, very good point there, Joshua, because it also could be making dirty air, which is then going to throw that 7 off, and he might have to change his lines to stay out of the dirty air, which is a line he doesn't want to run in, as we're going to see it come across the ticker again. That time, he was 1/10 faster than Larry that time by. So, but, yeah, that plays a factor in, where you want to run and how you want to run your car, especially on old, worn-down tires, as he swung it out again coming out too.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing it. He's not riding by any means, but to your point there, Robert, thankfully Auto Club being as wide as it is, he can really kind of pick and choose where he wants to place the nose of that machine to get some clean air on the nose. So, and he looks like now he's starting to stretch it out a little bit more over Larry Yingling. So 3 laps to go for Douglas Newbigging, looking to punch his ticket into the next round and add some playoff points to boot.
Yep, we'll have to see if that plays out. As you see, Larry, he changed his line. He's now running all the way up against the wall. So that is actually, you can see it's actually hurting him. He's actually losing ground than gaining ground. But, hey, you got to give it to Larry, though. He's giving it a shot, right, with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta mix it up. I mean, he seemingly seems really solid in on points right now. Second place finish is probably going to be more than enough to get him to the next round. So, I'm sure he'll be excited to advance to the next round, but I know he just desperately wants that win there, Robert.
Oh, most definitely. With 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, the double sticks are out here from Race Control here with WSSR on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But, yep, we're going to see what he does as he's heading down the backstretch. All he's got to do is get to that start-finish line to get the white flag and make it around one more time.
One more time that Douglas Newbigging is going to have to get around the track. Got the lap car of Thomas Walter there right in front of him, but he's done a great job tonight, Robert. I mean, really, I want to give a big kudos. His white flag is going to go in the air.
White flag's going to come into the air, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by Roasted Gems Coffee. Make sure you check them out as one more lap to go here. As we'll see if it looks like he's just going to ride right behind that 30, that lap car and just keep it, because he's got a second lead now over Larry.
Yeah, no big pressure, no need to put him, but Douglas Newbigging, he came into the night 7 points above the cut line, Robert. He battled, he did the strategy, but it's going to be him that's going to be outlasting as he comes off turn 4.
Comes off turn 4. Doug is going to come across the start-finish line and take the win here at WSSR Cup Series at Auto Club Speedway. Congratulations to Doug in that number 7 Roasted Gems coffee for advancing to the next round of the chase. So we'll have to see how that all plays out as everybody else is starting to come across the finish line here, as we're going to have Larry finish in second. Good run for him. Brian Johnson should lock himself into the next round. You got Ryan Kelly. He's looking pretty good, too. Playoff driver. Nolan Hicks. Good job by Nolan Hicks. Coming home in 5th there. Sutherland. Good run for him, too. Finishing in 6th. Zach Hall finishing 7th. I do believe that's going to be enough for him. And then we got Nick Crawford finishing in 8th position. I do believe he should be okay. But Shane Terrian's going to come home in 9th position. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough for him to advance to the next round.
It's going to be really close there, Robert. Some of the playoff drivers, as we're looking down the running order here, Shane Tyrion, as you mentioned, finished 9th. Benjamin Nelson, nice little rebound to finish 11th. John Forbes looks like he's going to end up in 12th. Kanata in 13th. So a lot of those guys look really close in the points, so I don't think we're gonna know, but obviously Christopher Norris, we talked about him a lot tonight, finishing in 21st position there, Robert. So I think it's pretty safe to say that his night is gonna come to an end, his playoff run, that is.
That it is. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the Put Smoke show here as he's pulling it into victory lane here at Auto Club. We will be right back with our top 3 drivers and a spotlight driver after we get everything ready. Stay tuned for post-race interviews here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for our post-race interviews here with our top 3 and a spotlight driver as we're going to get ready to bring in our race winner here of Doug as we're going to grab him and see how his race went and what his strategy call was. Doug, Robert up in the booth. How you doing there, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Man, what a run you had here tonight at Auto Club. That car looked pretty stout. What was your game plan throughout the whole race after that comp yellow that we got on lap 30? We had a whole green flag race with no yellows except for that comp. What was your game plan, with your pit stops and fuel mileage and everything?
Yeah, so right after the competition caution came out, I got my calculator out. I was already doing the math. It was about, I think it was like 77 laps ish we had, or I forgot the exact number. It's somewhere around there, right? But we basically broke it down, so we want to do 25 laps each in a fuel run, and I pretty much did them right on the dot. I went a little further on the first run to get to 60, just to play it safe in case a caution came out, but the field wasn't looking like they were going to wreck anytime soon, so that's why I waited a little bit, and then the second run I pitted on lap 85, I think it was, and then that was the last stop. I knew I was good, and then yeah, I did a bunch of officials and whatnot practicing for this event, and I come in here and the setup is completely different, or drive's completely different, right? Because I guess iRacing decided today that they were going to update these cars' physics and whatnot, so that was fun relearning it and whatnot. Well, once I relearned it, I mean, you saw it, right? You were watching the thing, so you could definitely
Yeah.
see.
Looks like you were definitely a quick learner tonight, Douglas. And my question is to you. I mean, we saw you run up front all night, but did it cross your mind at all at any point? Just, I mean, we saw some really great racing and guys running a bunch of different lines. And were you thinking about points at all during tonight, or were you just out there having fun and going for the win?
I mean, like, I knew I had a pretty good gap to me in points, and I knew for a fact, like, that as long as I was up front, like, I knew for a fact I could easily get a top 5, get a win here, no matter what. But yeah, no, points didn't really cross my mind. I mean, maybe if I got speeding up pit road, maybe, but I think I could have still recovered from that decently, looking at how everyone finished, really. So it never really crossed my mind. I kind of only had one thing on my mind, which is just a win, really.
Well, with that win, of course, it locked you into the next round and gives you some bonus points, which, you definitely want to carry that in as, the points are just this round with these 2 rounds of points were really, really close, like position, leading laps, things like that, all come down
Oh,
to the
yeah.
key factor of making it into the next round. So congratulations on getting your win, locking yourself into the next round, getting them bonus points. But with that being said, the floor is yours, buddy, to give anybody a shout out.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, Roasted Gems Coffee, hosting the league, and also my team. Let me get this real quick here. If you use code Lucky Ducks, one word, Lucky Ducks, you get 15% out checkout. Best coffee in the world, universe, wherever you are, it's the best coffee. Don't even bother getting anything else, man. It's just a waste of time getting anything else. But RS Button Boxes, No Kid Hungry charity, great charity. Lucky Duck Motorsports, obviously, helping everybody out here on our team. Even though most of my teammates had bad nights, but Brian, his internet fell through. So Spectrum, if you're hearing it, he has a very special message for you, Calvin. But yeah, he was having a good race. Cedric, he had a bad race too. He couldn't really figure it out, but he got going at the end, which is pretty good. And then Cogswell too, great teammates. Everybody on the team's a great teammate there. I was trying to teach him throughout this run, trying to tell him what to do, whatnot with the rears, but that's always fun. But yeah, moving on to round 2. I know Cedric made the next round. Sadly, Brian did not because of the internet issue, but it's just nice having another teammate in there. And we'll go on to next week, I think, to Richmond, right? Richmond, Kansas, something like that. What is
I
it?
think it's Kansas.
Yeah, I haven't really practiced on that one yet, so I don't know comfortability wise how I'm gonna go, but I feel like Richmond, that's definitely a good track for me. So we'll hopefully be back up here soon.
Well, again, congratulations on your win, buddy, and we'll ship you off here, but go celebrate with your team and enjoy the victory, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks a bunch. See you guys next week, hopefully.
1 second here, as it don't.
Oh, I got it.
All right. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Discord don't like me sometimes. All right. Well, that is going to be your race winner, Doug Newbinging, as we're going to roll off onto second place here of Larry He's going to get second place here, and we're going to see how his race went here tonight. Larry, Robert up in the booth. How you doing there, sir?
Pretty good.
Well, good win, man. Congratulations on getting second place finish. I'm sure that's, you wanted to be one more spot ahead. You led a lot of laps here tonight, but overall, after the comp, yellow that we had there, we went caution free. I asked Doug the same thing. What was your game plan with the fuel, and what do you feel you could have done a little bit different, maybe to pass Doug there at the end?
I don't think not much difference. I can pass Doug, maybe pit a lap before, which I kind of wanted to, but I also wanted to pit with him, just a 1v1, see who can get it. And but yeah, the second run here, most of the race I thought it was a 100 lap race, so I was doing calculations with
Oh.
fuel, and then James Heater was like, I think it's 110 laps. I'm like, oh, I didn't see the second one, so I'm like, okay, it's a two stop no matter what. And then I was trying to mess with brake bias, and I went in deeper in entering 3 a lot of corners because I knew off of 4 seemed to be my strong point. So I wanted to see if I can change anything and make it even stronger. And then that put me back to the pack a little bit. And then they started pitting. I didn't know when to pit. Then I just pit a lap after Doug, and I think 2 laps after Brian, and it was pretty close.
Well, Larry, you came into the night only 1 point above the cut line after a wild Talladega. So obviously you ran up front all night, led a ton of laps, and as we mentioned, we know you want to get that win always. But coming home with a runner-up finish, where's the confidence level at? Heading into the next round of the playoffs now.
It's fairly high. I know with the next 2 tracks, Kansas, from past experience, it tends to be a high line only. So I'm curious if the bottom line works any with these cars. And Richmond should be a good race, but the past short tracks this season makes me think it's going to be another wild card round. But I think as long as I don't make any mistakes, I can possibly make the top 6.
Oh, that is true. We'll have to see how Kansas all plays out, and then we head off to Richmond. But congratulations on your second place finish there, man. We were watching you all night with the points and everything, and we knew kind of halfway through the race that you had it pretty well tied up where Shane Terrian was running all night, and but we do got the unofficial results here, and we'll run them down later. But with that being said, who would you like to give a shout out to for tonight's second place running here?
Definitely my teammates this race, Ryan Kelly and James Heater, for telling me how many laps was in this race, and DeAndre, James, and Carolyn watching, and definitely you guys for putting on the broadcast. And for my sponsors, Muffin Sports Cards and Port City Cards on Instagram, if you're interested in the hobby of collecting cards. If you are interested in weight training or nutrition, check out Daniel Payne 1 on Instagram, virtual or in person near the Shreveport, Louisiana area, and Cody Glenn Cox Music on Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. And hopefully Kansas is a good race. That should be pretty fun with these cars, especially if it goes not many cautions.
Amen on that. Well, congratulations again on your second place finish, and congratulations on all your shout out there to your sponsors. And we will see you next week, Larry, at round number 2 at Kansas.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, that was our second place finisher, Larry, bringing it home in second position, locking himself into the next round. And we will go through those final who made it into the top 10. But with that being said, we're going to go to a third place finish here of Brian Johnson. Good run for him. Knew what he needed to do. So we're going to bring him up and see how his race went. Brian, Robert up in the booth. How you doing there, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, well, long time no talk. Haven't talked to you in a while. How was the race out there for you tonight?
Well, when you go into a race and you're 6 points below the cut line to make it to the next round of the playoffs, and you've never been in that situation before, a lot of pressure, but I knew I had to go out and win. That was the sure way to make it to the next round, and so did a lot of practice, figured out a lot of stuff, and had a lot of speed. Wasn't the fastest, um, but race went pretty smooth. Other than first time we came into our pit boxes, um, got on the brakes and the thing wanted to wheel hop, so kind of slid through, but recovered from that, and then just had a mistake-free second half of the race and was able to hold on to third. And I really didn't think that was going to be good enough because I can't lead a lap to save my life this season. I was trying so hard last week to get that point and couldn't make it happen. Tried it this week, that didn't work out either. So I didn't think third was going to be good enough, and but it was. So good to make it to the next round. But unfortunately, it's the same story for round two as it was round one. Is going into it with 0 playoff points. So that's not a good thing. But race overall was good. I'm glad nothing happened, and we'll go off to Kansas next week.
Well, Brian, congratulations, man, on a really solid run tonight. You can take a deep breath now, my friend, because you are unofficially advanced into the next round. I guess my question for you tonight, we talked about it in the broadcast, and we know you've got speed in that trophy smack machine. We've seen you be a competitor and run up front. My question to you is, where's the confidence level at now? I know you mentioned not having any playoff points to necessarily lean on going in the next round, but how do you feel about your chances making that final six going into these next two tracks of Kansas and Richmond?
Well, I know any given track, I probably have top 10 speed. I feel like most of the time it's top 5 speed, but it's just a matter of being mistake free and also having a little bit of good luck because there's been some strategy stuff and where some cautions fall that kind of um screwed me in a few races. And I should have done something different, but it just didn't work out. The having no playoff points in the playoffs is uncharted territory for me. Usually, I've racked up a whole bunch of playoff points before the playoffs. That didn't happen this season because the competition level this season is incredibly high, and it's tough to win, tough to get bonus points. And so confidence and speed is maybe a little bit less than it was at the beginning of the season. But confidence in the playoffs is it's at an all-time low because there is no freebie race for me going into the next two races. Like these two races have to be perfect, or I don't make the final six. So but it's one of those things where you just prepare the best you can and you take it one lap at a time and try to race the track and not other people, but also don't give so much when you're giving and taking, and hopefully I make that final six.
Oh, yeah, you said it. You said it perfectly well, Brian. Because I was going to touch on that a little bit too. You're in uncharted territory, like you said. You're not used to not having bonus points and rolling in and even being outside the cut line. I don't ever recall seeing you in this position. And I know you went through what you need to do and things like that. But in the mentality of it all and thinking on every track that you go to, it's a whole new different territory. Is there any difference that you really set your mind at, going from one, with all these bonus points or wins or things like that to not having any of that? Like that's a whole different spectrum.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you have some playoff points and you have some points to play with above the cut line, you can be pretty relaxed most of the race and then turn it up for the last 25-30% of the laps, and chances are you'll be fine. But when you're below the cut line and you're trying to get in, um it's 100% of the time. There is no okay, well, this guy's kind of dive bombing the corner on me a little bit, and I'm just gonna give him this position, and we'll get to him later. It's not that anymore. It's the caution could come out at any moment. I need every single position I can get. I need to try to lead a lap, and I need to try to get the fastest lap. And it's trying to do everything possible to get as many points as you can. Like you gotta be point hungry. But when you're above the cut line, you don't have to be hungry. You can kind of just ration yourself a little bit. And so yeah, I've never had to do this before, but I guess it's fun.
Well, well, you got to learn on both sides, right? Eventually, it comes down to, like you said, the competition is tough here. But congratulations on your third place finish. I know we're heading to Kansas and Richmond, and we'll see how that all plays out for you, Brian. Maybe you can get yourself in victory lane, like Joshua said. You always got a fast car, so we'll see how that all plays out. But before we let you go, the floor is yours to give any shout outs.
But definitely gotta give a shout out to you guys for putting on a good show and everybody that tuned in. From the driver's perspective, that was a very fun race. So hopefully it looked good on the big screen as well. And then gotta thank all the admins that put this thing together, and then all the drivers that continue to show up week in and week out. Um, like I said, competition this season is so much higher than it ever has been, and it's awesome. This is what we wanted WSSR to be, and we're much closer to where we envisioned it. And as well, got to give a shout out to Trophy Smack, of course, and Roasted Gems Coffee. Two of our biggest sponsors over here. They do really good things for us. And then yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, congratulations again, Brian, and we will see you next week at Kansas and hopefully in victory lane.
Thanks, sir.
All right, that is going to be our third place runner, Brian P. Johnson, as we're going to bring up our spotlight driver, moving up 14 positions in tonight's race, Brian Kelly. Great run for him, and we are going to get a chat with him and see how his night all went out there. Brian, Robert up in the booth. How you doing there, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So, how was tonight's race out there? You winded up going 14 positions from your starting position here tonight. Great run, finishing fourth. What was your game plan? Going into this race, knowing that you were where were you at? And you were ninth in points, only +2 above Larry, which would put you really close to where Shane Terrian was. What was your game plan through the whole race here tonight to try to solidify your spot into the next round?
Yeah, the game plan was definitely to start further up front. Had some troubles in qualifying, hit the wall, and wound up starting P18. So definitely had to work for this one tonight. Just tried to move through the field slowly and get to the front. And I feel like track position was big tonight. It was really hard to pass, especially once the tires got worn out and everyone started running up towards the high side. So just tried to be patient and get up there for the end. And yeah, P4 is not too bad, so I'm happy.
Well, Ryan, it it seems like nothing's come easy for you this season. You got your win, but then you had to go through the drama of, making sure you were inside the top 25 in points at the cutoff race at Charlotte. You managed to do that, and then you came into tonight only 2 points above the cutoff line. You mentioned having to start toward kind of the middle of the pack there and work your way up, but you did it. You're into the next round now. You can take a sigh of relief, but how are you feeling, kind of going into the next round now? You got Kansas and Richmond coming up. Where's your confidence level at?
Yeah, definitely confident here with all the points evening out again. I feel like the last couple of races I've just been chasing, trying to stay in it, and it'll be nice to just start on a level playing field and be able to just go out and contend for wins and hopefully get a little better qualifying.
Oh, most definitely. Well, we'll see what you have to do when it comes up to Kansas and Richmond. I'm sure you're going to have fast pace, and like you said, we all start out equal here around round number 2. But with that being said, there, Ryan, again, congratulations on fourth place. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out for this fourth place finish?
Yeah, just all the sponsors in the league and all the guys running it. It's a great group of drivers, and happy to be a part of it. You guys up in the booth for putting on the show, and thanks for everyone watching.
All right. Well, that's going to be your third place finisher, Ryan Kelly, and we'll see you next week at Kansas, buddy.
All right, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to round out our interviews here tonight as we get ready to bring up the unofficial results here very shortly, and we'll see where your favorite driver finished tonight's event here. Hopefully they finish at least up into the top 10, and we'll have to go from there. But we'll bring up the unofficial results here from tonight's race. We got Doug Newbingen there finishing in first position. We got Larry that we talked to coming in second position, with Brian Johnson in third, Ryan Kelly in fourth. Nolan Hicks, great run for Nolan Hicks, finishing in fifth. Sixth place is going to go to Sutherland in that 14 machine. Zach Hall's going to round out your seventh position, with Nick Crawford coming home in eighth. And then we got Shane Terrian, and we're going to get to this later, but finishing in ninth position. And great run there, Joshua, from Danny Cochran, finishing in the top 10.
Absolutely. And as we look a little further back here, just right outside the top 10, Robert, we got a whole nest of playoff drivers. John Forbes, let me start with Benjamin Nelson, who we saw that he ran up front early, had that issue spinning in his pit box on that first pit stop of the night. Took him all night, but he does rebound and finish 11th. John Forbes, another playoff guy, will finish 12th. Joshua Kanata, 13th. A little further back will be Cedric Hunter, a playoff driver, finishing 15th. And then as we start really jumping down the leaderboard here, we see all the way, we talked about him all night, a lot tonight. Robert Christopher Norris finishes 21st tonight. And we know he definitely will not be advancing to the next round. Little surprising to see him struggle this bad tonight. And then as we look a little further down the leaderboard, a couple, surprise issues happening for a couple guys. Brian Noel, he was one of those playoff contenders. Seemingly needed to get a win tonight, but he was running in the top 5 really all night. Had some connection issues, as well as the driver right below him, Ken Campbell, probably one of the biggest heartbreaks of the night for Campbell. Came in really solid in the points tonight, doing everything that he had to do, and having some connection issues, middle way through the race there. He's going to bring it home 27th, and he's going to end up missing the playoffs as well. Brandon Colley had a little bit of a miscommunication. Had a black flag after entering a closed pit road. He's going to finish 29th. And then Ross Tatum, he was in a must-win situation, finishes 30th tonight.
Well, that's going to be your roundup, and we said we'd get to it here. And tonight, as we get ready to head off, we actually got the official results of who's going to be in your round number 2 of the playoffs, and that is going to go to Benjamin Nelson is going to be into the playoffs, with Doug making it in with that win here tonight. Zach Hall is going to make it in, with Larry is going to come in, and Nick Crawford's going to wind up in. Ryan Kelly, we talked to, looking for next round's going to be in. Joshua Kanata makes it in. Cedric Hunter is also going to make it in. And then we got Brian Johnson with his good run we talked to. But here is the one that I didn't think was going to make it, and he makes it. Shane Terrian, Joshua, is going to be your 10th driver making it into round number 2 here at Kansas and Richmond here in the next 2 weeks.
Shane Terrian doing what he had to do tonight, Robert, to make it in. But for those 10, obviously very, very excited moving forward. But that means there's 6 drivers that their run for a championship is going to end tonight. We'll start with Ross Tatum. He obviously missed the race last week. He was in a must-win situation. Did not see what we needed to from that 21 car tonight, so he's going to be the first one eliminated. Brandon Colley, we mentioned, had the pit road mishap. Got a black flag for entering a closed pit road. He has a tough finish. He'll be eliminated from contention as well. Brian Noel, another driver that really needed to throw a Hail Mary tonight and was running really good tonight, Robert. Was running up in the top 5, but unfortunately the connection issues bit him, so he will be eliminated as well. As Christopher Norris that we talked about, just did not see the speed out of that 38 machine that we needed to see tonight. He's going to be eliminated. And then the final 2 to be eliminated, Ken Campbell, we talked about him already there, Robert, doing what he had to do, and no fault of his own. The connectivity issues drops him out. So really tough break for Ken Campbell. And then the final driver that just misses the cut is going to be John Forbes.
That is going to be your 6 drivers that unfortunately will not be moving to the next round here at WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Again, congratulations to them drivers that move on to the next round and keep plugging at it. And also, we want to give a shout out to the sponsors of tonight's race and league. Also, check out Roasted Gems Coffee. For all your coffee needs, they got a whole bunch of different blends from decaf to full flavor to beans and already grounded up coffee. Excellent coffee. Make sure you go check them out. And at your checkout, use WSSR for your 5% off on your complete order over there at Roasted Gems. And also, big shout out to Trophy Smack. Make sure you go check out Trophy Smack by using WSSR Smack to get 10% off of your orders on Trophy Smacks or any other products and merch that they have over there. Go check out trophysmack.com. Until next time there, Josh, any final thoughts that you want to say about tonight's event here before we roll into next week at good old Kansas, out in the Midwest, and see how round number 2 starts out?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. I mean, I think this was a phenomenal first round. I think it was very entertaining. We talked about how much of a wild card of a round it could be, and I think it proved to be that. Obviously, with the wild racing at Talladega, we saw a couple big ones. Put some guys in some holes tonight, and then come into the really fast track here at Auto Club Speedway. I have to say, I'm very impressed by all the drivers, though, Robert. I mean, this is an easy track to lose control of the car, and we only had that one caution for that the competition yellow early in the race. So kudos to all the drivers for putting on a heck of a show for everybody. So I think it was cool to see some of the guys, kind of like Brian P. Johnson, who we talked to him in the post race interview. He's never been in that situation before, facing elimination coming into a race in a cutoff round below the cut line, and he was able to step up and rise to the challenge, and he's moving on along with a couple other guys. And obviously, mishaps for some other guys that probably deserve to be moving forward, but unfortunately, it just wasn't their night. And I cannot wait for round 2 now. I think we got a really solid group of 10 guys here, and it's going to be fun to watch it dwindle to 6 drivers in these next 2 races tonight.
Oh, most definitely agreed with everything that you said there. And the last final shout out I want to give, and I don't want to forget, is Brandon Colley's mom for sponsoring the grid here every race, every season here at WSSR. Thank you to Brandon Colley's mom for sponsoring the grid, sponsor of every race. But yeah, man, with that being said, what a great race. We got our top 10 drivers for next week for Kansas and also Richmond. Going to be very interesting to see, so make sure you tune in for that next week as we head to Kansas with these guys. But we are not done yet here to this week here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We still got Richmond to go at Stars and Stripes tomorrow at 9:20 here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you're free and you just want to hop in and say hi to the commentators or say hi to me or root on your favorite driver out there, hit us up on chat when we go live at 9:20 here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And the best way not to miss any of the action here at Freaky Fast is hit that subscribe button, bell button, and the notification button will help you know when we go live every time here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until next time, we will catch everybody tomorrow night. I'd like to say thank you for everybody tuning in. God bless everybody. Love yous all. Peace out.